When you don't have a good niche and you don't have a solid solution, you're often struggling to figure out what is unique about you. When you're a freelancer, let's just think this guy is a freelancer. He's going uphill, and that's the scaling of an agency, right? It's going up. When you're a freelancer, you're looking at this backpack and saying, you know what? That doesn't seem too hard. I see a couple guys going up. I've seen this on YouTube. I've heard of guys. I know a thing or two about growing a business. And so what you do is you say, you know what? I'm going to do that too. And then you get a couple of customers. What I did is I went and got an office. And I said, well, I had a huge office. My dad wanted me to leave the house and go get an office. So then I'm like, I got to put people in the office. So when I got a whole bunch of employees, and then you start getting some success and you're like, all right, I got the confidence, I got some energy, and I'm going to go crush it, right? Now, I want you to understand that after a while, it starts to look like this. It's a giant rock that we're trying to push uphill, okay? And how many ever people that you have, it's just not sufficient. The client requests, the change in marketplace, there's competition, there's a million questions you need to ask yourself. It's like, why am I special? What is it that I do that nobody else can? And which is why a lot of agencies stay in the commodity land. There are a couple of things to scaling a business. And a lot of this we teach inside the Scale program, right? It's literally figuring out who is it. And people talk about niche quite a lot. And this is not just about picking a niche, which is, hey, I'm gonna go after plumber. My business is a plumber business. And no. It's way beyond that. It's what is it that you do that is so special that plumbers need to pay attention to, right? Picking one and saying, hey, I do that, that's fantastic. The way that we've done it for ourselves was to pick a software, and we picked specific services, and we had proven process that nobody else had. It's a signature offer that nobody else had, because we worked way too hard not getting the success. Then we finally uncovered those things, and we say, you know what? That's going to be our signature service. Then we trained our team, we trained our sales team, and we went to market as our go-to-market strategy, and it worked, right? And every single customer was a success story, which then they started to tell other people, and it was easier and easier. I'm going to show you a way that's also going to be easier for you right now. And then the second piece that we teach inside the Scale program is that offer. What is that you do, and so you don't ever get stuck in the commodity zone. If you go in and say, I sell Facebook ads, you're already a commodity, unfortunately. If you go in saying, hey, that I'm the best web design expert and I build websites in WordPress and I got this very special theme customization thing, they said I could get that done cheaper in the Philippines or anywhere else in the world. It doesn't matter where it is. But if you go in there and say, hey, I have a solution that's going to help you do X, and I can guarantee you I can get you this result, you're going to be far better in your customer acquisition and your lead generation and your thought leadership and everything that you stand for and all your content and all your lead magnets. Everything's just going to resonate so much better, especially if you're going to run ads. Now, is it just picking a niche and offer? No. Then you need an amazing team. Then you need an established, system to manage your finance, and all this stuff needs to happen before you're going to be getting to where you're trying to go. Then you got to have an HR team that's going to look after your people. Then now you have systems. I'm going to wrap this whole thing around because my whole entire business is system development, which is what ClickX is. There's a system that wraps around it. And then we wrap all this around KPIs. Hey, are we hitting our numbers? And what do we need to do that? And do we have good financial controls to be able to grow and scale? What are we going to do? Most business owners don't understand how hard that rock is. Now, this is not the point of this video. The reason I'm sharing this with you is that there's an easier way to grow and scale an agency. And that easier way is actually something a lot of people don't take. And I don't understand why. And we're actually going to be doing this with very select entrepreneurs that have scaled other businesses in the past. They want to take a risk and go into the agency base. And I want to show them how they can do it so much faster. So here's what I would like for you is, rather than going and pushing that thing uphill, I want to give you a way that you can have a snowball effect. What is that snowball effect? Well, snowball, if you ever studied it, Warren Buffett talks about this in financial world. If you start accumulating money and you get the $1,000 becomes $1,200 and $1,200 becomes $1,500, you just invest it, you reinvest the dividends, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger For Warren Buffett, it's billions and billions of dollars. And that's exactly what I mean for you, that you can actually grow this business faster with less effort. And as this ball goes downhill, it gets bigger and it makes your life easier, yet you have a bigger business. So you might be asking, Solomon, tell me, how do you build the snowball effect in my business? Fantastic. I'm so glad you asked. I'm going to draw this out for you really quick. I'm going to give you tactical advice on how to do this. So what you're going to do to build the snowball effect is actually not to start from zero. So you're actually not going to do this yourself. You're going to find a business that is already operational. Somebody went through this hard effort of taking their business, getting the first few clients, getting that cash flow right, getting a couple of more customers and getting more income, more profit, and they grew it. But what happens is that they plateaued that business. For some reason, they couldn't figure it out. Maybe it's burnout. Maybe they didn't have the right people. Maybe they didn't have the right structure. Maybe they didn't have any more money that they could infuse into the business, or they were not actually willing to invest the business, so the business struggled. So what do? You have a choice. You can make that business grow if you would invest the right amount of energy, the right strategy, the right ad spend, hiring more salespeople. So a lot of people are stuck at $50K a month, $30K a month. They cannot get it. And I hear these stories every day because people apply to the Scale program. So what I'm suggesting is that you would buy that business when they hit that plateau, they're starting to burn out, that rock is getting harder and harder. And what you do at that point is that you would acquire that business and you would probably let that business owner work with you, that agency owner, for the next 12 months, right? So you take that business for the next 12 months, you're working with them to really figure out what they need to do. You see, it takes a lot of money to get from here to here. But if I take that same amount of money and energy, if I put that over here, my chances of skyrocketing this company is so much greater. Why? I'm not starting from scratch. I'm not starting with no followers and no brand awareness and no cash flow. I'm actually starting in the mid, right? Or middle of wherever they left it. And they probably had great success too in the past, but somehow something happened. They could have lost some revenue. So you can say, look, I want to partner up with you and I want to grow this thing. We both benefit. We're going to be better off together than we are separate. And if you can take a business like that, doesn't matter what niche it is, as long as they have some momentum, upward momentum, they've had success, they've had really figured out what product and what niche and what offer worked, and they have a consistent way to produce that result for customers. And you can actually work on some of the things that we teach you in Scale program, which is to create a signature service, make a momentum offer. All of these things can happen. And then what happens? You can take that business to 6 figures a month much, much easier. Now I'm going to show this to you in another graph. So this is the CPA and accountant friendly chart, which is whatever that is. On the bottom is time. It could have been 2 years. It could be 2 months. It doesn't really matter what that timeline is. Time is on the bottom. And revenue is over here. And you know and I know, if you've ever scaled a business before, zero is the hardest place to start. That means you have no idea who's gonna buy, why should they buy from you, what's my niche, what's my product, what's my offer. So you're gonna skip all that headache. You're gonna go let somebody else deal with all that, and you're probably gonna come in somewhere here, which is a good place. Might be, somewhere between $50,000, $60,000 a month. They haven't figured out how to get to $1 million a mark, and they're either looking to exit and move on with their life, or they want to partner with somebody else and they want to make this thing go to $200,000 a month, right? Or something like that. Whatever that is, you would find businesses that are looking for help. If you're an entrepreneur, you scaled a grocery store, you scaled a home services business, and I know, looking at the business from outside in, you can make some easy adjustments to scale that. But when you are the business owner, when you are the ones that are doing it, which is you're working in the business and you're working on the business, you can't see for the life of you what you need to change, right? Like that's the challenge what most people run into, is that once they hit a certain number, they just can't reach the next one. Tony Robbins called this the glass ceiling. And so the best thing that you can do is to either sell the business if you want to get out of it, or you partner up with somebody else that wants to do it. Now, if you're watching this White Label Wednesday, chances are, and you're at zero, a high probability, a lot of my people are absolutely at zero, or you've gotten 10K or 20K a month and that was kind of like a hit or miss, you don't have a strategy, you're like looking for help when you found me and ClickX and whatever else, or you're over here, you've done well, and you should give yourself a lot of credit. You know, one of the books I recommend is a book called Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan, which is an amazing book which will show you how to give yourself credit for how much you've accomplished. But you also need to know that you don't have what it takes to double that income. You don't have the right system, you don't have the right team, you don't have the cash, you don't have the confidence, you're afraid that you might fail, so you're just like, hey, I'm comfortable there. The comfort is going to kill you, right? Like you're just going to stay right there and not get to where you need to go. This type of concept, you will not find it in most courses and coaches because they've never done it. They've never done it. They've done it the hard way and they've taken them years like me. But when you do this a bunch of times, you realize like it's so much easier. In fact, I've done this several times with other agencies. I partnered up with them. We infused all our ideas and strategies, our software, our tactics, our outbound methodologies, our inbound methodologies, hired salespeople. We scaled it so many millions per year because there was a $200,000 base or whatever it is that we had that we can count on. So we could take risk. We can go and buy trade shows or whatever else we need to do to grow the company. So think about that. If that's of interest to you, you might want to apply to the Scale program. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're so excited that you're here. I don't know how much you know about ClickX. What we do is we help agencies like you grow and scale. We have a Scale program that is geared to helping agencies from lead generation to closing the deal, that is your sales department, to white label fulfillment. To find out more, there is a link right below this video. Go ahead and click the link and schedule a one-on-one call. We're so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on the next White Label Wednesday.